Okay, I punched his buddy. His buddy was right there. I took care of his buddy. He came running and he got stuck. Are you guys noticing a theme here? I'm thinking that these posts might end up actually being the world's greatest defense mechanism. Yeah. Bye bye. Welcome, ladies. I'm Aravero, here as always. And here is, of course, Vagabond Gate on LVS on Zedwork server. Woo-hoo. I'm moving some villagers up here to the little tower that we finished last time. It's finished enough anyway. And I've created this little chute out of leaves so that I can get this fellow down here. Oh dear, I only have one bucket of water. That will just have to do. You can see I haven't made a proper elevator because basically I'm too lazy to do the whole fetching water thing to set up the elevator and then try to encourage the stupid villager to get into the elevator. So, here he is. Here's our boy. I do have signs. I did start to do it. I just didn't, you know? Okay. So, let's see. I'm going to put this water up here. Oh, about there. And see if I can get him to get in the water. Yeah, this guy's got a little bit of a contrary streak. He do. Let's see here. You go over there. Aha. Aha. Let me get this leaf out of my head. There we go. This could work. Da-da-da. Ha-ha-ha. Yeah, that worked really, really well. Now I have no water. Hang on. I need a bucket of water. I really do. I'll be back in a second. Okay, well, the good news is he's correctly positioned now. So, I'm going to cut to a little bit of video that was after I died in one of the UHCs that I've recently participated in. Are you coming up or not? Come on. Come on, buddy. You can do this. I don't think you need to die. This guy. This guy. This guy. Okay, there we go. You need to just start bobbing. Oh, okay. Yeah, come on, just bob. There we go. Now we gotcha. Okay. Back to the footage. So I'm going to cut to this footage of this trick one of the boys was using in the UHC. Now, come on. This worked fine for your buddy. Why are you being contrary? There we go. Alright. So the boys used this trick after I died in the UHC. To scale up a ladder. And so what I'm doing is the same thing. Instead of building an actual elevator, I'm in here in the shaft with him. I'm building a floor up under us as we go. And then I'm just moving the water. Now, the fact that we're only going a couple of blocks at a time is the same thing as the little air gaps in your standard elevator. And as I said, I'm building up a floor just to keep us from both dropping, because sometimes that little hair's breadth of time between one bucket being taken away and the other one being put up is enough for him to drop, and I don't want him to take fall damage. But like I said, I was just too lazy to build the entire elevator with the signs and everything for a temporary structure. So this is what we're doing instead. And like I said, it went much more smoothly with his buddy, who was a baby that I found roaming around, and I don't know where he came from because we have mob griefing on here. And so the whole prospect of getting baby villagers is a little bit more complicated on this server. And I had some that I thought were primed that were just being difficult. In fact, I probably had 2 full pairs that I thought were primed that were being difficult. And then all of a sudden, there's this baby roaming around. I don't know which pair produced him. It doesn't really matter. He's just a baby. But I put him in a box and moved him up in the exact same way as this. And he was not nearly as disagreeable as this boy has been. And like I said, I'm just filling in the leaves behind for the sake of preventing him from taking fall damage in between the bucket placing. There he goes. There we go. Quit being in the middle of the block. Thank you. Anyway, so yeah, and the other reason I'm moving him like this is because I was too lazy to that's not what I wanted to do. I was too lazy to actually build the up elevator that I said I was going to. So for all my laziness, I get to try out unfamiliar new tactics for that probably don't save me any time. Come on, shove down there. But now we have 2 babies, well, 2 villagers in this tower area, and I have another pair I would like to move over here, but I believe these 2 are both primed and ready to breed. So hopefully by the time I get the others moved over here, they will have done something in that category. Look at that. I've got the next apparatus set up for moving another breeding pair of villagers from all the way over there. So we have a vertical elevator shaft, and all of this is horizontalness. Yeah, just to get them to the tower. I think it's funny looking. I mean, I'm amused by the look of it. Yes, I did have to zigzag because it would have been entirely too boring otherwise. Let's get to it then. Well, the good news is that the villagers like the tower. I've moved 5 of them up here, and at my last count, there was 12 up here. So that means that 7 of them were born and bred up here on this tower. So that's good. But I have noticed a few problems. Well, I was so encouraged by the birth rate that I built that other tower over there, and it's the exact same as this one so far as I've got it so far, just so that there would be enough doors to I built it just so that there'd be enough doors to make sure that these guys kept breeding up until they got to 10 villagers. And then I noticed a problem. And that is that short little stumpy tree. Now that right there is supposed to be my tree farm, and I use the jungle trees just for a large quantity of wood, and obviously I do use the jungle wood sometimes for building. But I use the jungle trees primarily so that I can have large quantities of wood for chests, because you need the chests to breed the llamas, and because whatever, you sometimes just need a lot of wood. So that's why I have the tree farms in the first place that have the jungle trees on them. So it's not the jungle trees don't grow as tall anymore as they did before. And the last one I did have that was tall was there between the 2 of them, and 2 towers, and it looked awful in between the 2 towers. So we've actually lost ground by building these towers because the objective was to make it look less like that, but still have at least a few functional jungle trees. So now we have this nice interesting building, which does look nice from the ocean, by the way, but now we have a problem. Oh, and it still hasn't produced any iron golem. And then the other problem I have is this is the underside of the platform. Now, it is usually, this is me trying to carry the design from the wall, which is to say the support struts of nether brick, down into the existing um, into the existing structure, which is this the nether, not the nether brick, the what's that called, prismarine. And see, it normally would look like a bit like this. So we get this nice little floating saucer, flying saucer effect kind of on all the other ones. So I'm not really thrilled with the whole nether brick thing. But watch me go all the way over. Nope. We need the nether brick thing because we need to do something to continue either the green up into the nether brick or the nether brick down, or maybe some combination of the both, because this line right there where I've just plunked down the nether brick on top of the existing structure is, well, it doesn't look good. So I've got to fix that. And as I say, there's no iron golem spawning, and there's this tree. So the tree, I think the reason the tree is having problems is because these little pathways are infringing a little bit in its growth space. And so maybe just adjusting the pathways a little bit would fix that problem, at least as far as the getting it to grow part. Look at the way this vine is hanging here. That's cool. Um, anyway, so I need to start working on figuring out something else to do with the pathway first to get the jungle tree back to where it's growing. So I guess that'll be what we'll be doing next. Let me get myself some materials and organization, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I think that this is the most logical place to start. First, let's start on the tower that's not completely done and housing villagers and see if we can figure out what to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push this platform backwards. Like, I'm literally going to push it back into the very place here where it spawned from. So I'm just going to lay down some jungle wood here. Let's see. One of these boxes has got some jungle slabs in it, surely. There they are. Okay. So I'm just going to carry this whole flat spot on the path in. I don't need to raise that roof that much. I just am like kind of poking at everything right now. I'm going to bring this in so that we have the entire width of this path inside of the tower. Because once upon a when, way back when I was first thinking about building these towers, well, not when I was first thinking about it, but when I was like, okay, I have this big nether brick shaft, now what am I going to do with it? I was like, okay, I'd like to have a path that'll like spiral. I don't need that there, I don't think. Like spiral around, but also duck in and out of the shaft. So that's where I'm going to start right now. I'm going to duck this into the shaft right here. And then I'm going to try to build this stairway over again, kind of on the inside here. This probably needs to be there. And then we'll go over here like that. Yep, that's my L. And then I don't know if this is going to be the same height, but it maybe doesn't need to be. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. It might not need to be though, because because if I'm rebuilding this spiral staircase, I'm going to have to do some of it is just a rebuild, right? So this is pretty close though. I was not expecting it to actually work quite that easily. Okay, but this side over here, I don't think I have to have shoved back. I just have to get all of this path over. So that might mean that I can just bring this step up here somehow, like this maybe. And then we'll be back up on this. That's not feeling particularly classy and like finished, right? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to cut off, whoa, I cut a little bit prematurely there and almost jumped into the hole I made. Okay, I want to cut off this section here. And right this very minute, my primary intention is to keep the functionality of the stairway. Whee! That worked really well. I wonder if I got those as I fell. I'm actually packing these things today. This could be very entertaining because I'm not actually used to using them. So, we'll see how that goes. Oh, wow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where am I? I feel like I'm inside the block. Does it do that? Okay. So, this is not going to work right here, is it? So, I wonder if it would make more sense to just come inside. I don't know. Okay. So, that was not exactly what I wanted the first attempt. So, oops, and that was not exactly what I wanted either. Okay, let's try this nether thingy again. That didn't work. This is not working better. Let me use a tried and true method of traveling around. Tried and true traveling. Okay. Alright, so let's just have a look at this from over here and see if visually... well, you can't tell yet because I haven't, like, cut off the porch. I wonder if I should just tear the whole thing out. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to tear the whole path down and then I'll come back to you. I'm just going to have to give up on this episode because it's a wreck, right? I've got nothing to show. That tree is newly planted since I took the path down because I wanted to make sure that it was the path. It is clearly the path because we did get a taller tree. It's of course not the full height of a tree that I would like to have, which I assume is because there's still the path on that one. So anyway, I'm thinking of completely redoing this tower. I might even pick another material, something that would go better with the green theme down here maybe. But I want to do... I was thinking that as far as like the drop chute for... There's two problems. The first one is that we have no golems, which suggests there's something wrong with the spawning area that we have up there on that tower. Because obviously the villagers are happy and they've had enough time to cool down and decide to not breed but instead make golems. So I've ruled that out, or at least I'm confident that that's probably not what the problem is. So it's got to have something to do with how the golem counts or how the spawning of the golem counts spawning spaces up there. So I'm thinking I might change this tower to a whole different structure. And I'm going to end up standing around and pointing for 5 minutes if I try to explain what I'm thinking right now. So I'm just going to call this an episode just so I can get one out this week. And I'm sorry, guys, that it's just a complete train wreck and there's absolutely nothing happening in this episode. But at least you got one, right? Well, no. There's not going to be an episode this week because it's not ready. Alright, you can see that I've got a little bit of a taller jungle tree there. I think that's because, yeah, I've kind of gone back to the beginning. I made a token effort at readjusting the path, and then I ended up just tearing it all down. Going back to the parts that I know. One of my strategies for building is if I don't know what I do want to do, then I do the parts that I know. So like, for example, with that tower, I had this idea that I wanted a spiral around the tower. So I said, okay, this isn't exactly how I think I want it, but I'm going to do the spiral because I know this spiral. So ended up with that because I started there anyway. So here, I know that I want the platform to move away from the jungle tree spawn platform or growing platform. So I've moved the platform this way, and this is the center where the iron golems will ultimately drop, but I also want that to stay on the center there so that the bottom doesn't have to change necessarily. So I know I'm going to need a chute to drop the iron golems through. So there's a chute, and it's full of water so I can use it as an elevator. Okay, but I've done a little bit of additional work. You can see that it's a circle. It's a significantly larger circle because, as I said, that one's not spawning iron golems. And I think that the problem is that either A, it's not registering some of the doors. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Or B, there's just not enough spawn space there. So I went back to the wiki, which of course says that they spawn iron golems will spawn in the presence of the right number of doors and the presence of the right number of villagers within a 16 by 16 square. So I have created a 16 by 16 square here, and I've just made it a circle for the sake of not having it be a square, for no other reason, just because I don't want it to be a square. Okay, so basically we're now at the same place we were at before we built the little houses on the top over here. Okay, these leaves, I use leaves all the time for marking things out. Okay, so the first thing I did was I put out these doors, and I've discovered, okay, this isn't going to work because if I have the doors at that height and I put water at this height to try to shove the golems down the chute, well, first of all, that's going to mean that the villagers would have direct access to the spawning areas, which is a little bit undesirable if you want to keep your villager population up. So I'm going to have to put those doors up on some kind of a stoop or a foundation or something that's elevated from this level. And also, I imagine you can guess that the water doesn't want to work really, really nicely going in this diagonal direction. So I thought if I have this part higher and run it down this way higher, run it down to the center, and then run the center down that way, and of course drop it down another level so that it runs down that way, I'll eventually get my golems in the chute. Maybe, if they even spawn. That's what I'm thinking. So that's why I've got these things lined out like that. And so I'm going to work on building that right now. Do you see what I see? Okay, I sang for you, AB. Surely you heard it that time. Look at that. There is an iron golem over there. I'm over here building this trap because that one wasn't working, and now there's one over there. Umble. No, I think I know what the problem is. It might be the number of spawning spots. It's taking it this long to have actually tried a spot that worked. Clearly, that is not going down the chute like it is supposed to be going either. So there's something else wrong here. But, at any rate, there's an iron golem over there. Does that look like E.T. to you? I have a big pink blob up here. But I think it might work anyway. Oh, that's a bad throw. Ha! Nope, can't get high enough. Let me use the elevator. So I have this lovely structure to contain the water and for the golems to spawn in. I have roughly the same rectangle square that I started out with, the 16 by 16. It's a little wider over there, but this is as far as I can get the water to go, and still keep pushing in the same direction, I guess. I'm not really worried about those 4 spots there. I think that probably the golem will just walk enough to get pushed the right direction eventually. I mean, that one over there eventually fell down in his hole. And I got no iron. I'm not sure why. So anyway, I guess I'm up to the point where I can try to put some houses in or doors in so that the golems will know to spawn. And then try to get villagers from over there to over here. Which sounds like a good breaking point for now. Seems like the place I ought to be calling this episode because, yeah, more house building on towers. Sounds like fun, right? Alrighty, well, if it sounds like fun to you, come on back for the next episode. Aradoodle-doo, toodaloo.